Let's create this checkbox. First, I'll create my main here, and inside this main I would have an input field of type checkbox. Give it an ID of CBX. We don't need the name. Then I'll also create a label. Give it a full of CBX. Oh, sorry, this is checkbox. That's it for the HTML. So we have our checkbox right here. So I'll move to my style.css file. That's what I linked over here. And so far I have styled out the body to center the checkbox. So first let's style a label. That's with label. I give it a position of relative, top of 1 pixel, width of 30 pixels, same with the height. Keep it a square. Give it a border. So let's give it a border radius, cursor pointer, then a display block. So that's it right here. We have our label over here, and when we click it, we see the checkbox being toggled. Okay, let's style the label after. So the content as usual, the position absolute, and then a top of that's 3 pixels, left of 10 pixels, width 7 pixels. Let's do the height 2 times that, height 14 pixels. Give it a border. Let's do border right to solid white. Let's do this here for the border bottom. So right now we don't see it. Oh, that's because it's white, and here our background is white. So let's try giving this a background color of black. So we can see the after that we have created is this shape over here, and we are going to rotate it. So I'll come down here and then do a transform. So rotate by 45 degrees. So we see that over there. So the left has to be 10 pixels. Let's try to implement that animation. Initially I want it to be at 0, so it says scale 0, and then still initially I want it to have an opacity, the check in the checkbox to have an opacity of 0. And then when the time comes, I'll give it a transition. Let's do all 0.3 seconds, and then maybe a transition delay. Let's do 0.15 seconds, but you can play around with these values. So okay, that's what we have. So for far now we don't see it, and maybe let me take this back. I want this to be black only when the checkbox is checked. So let's move down here and specify what happens when the checkbox is checked. So that's the label. So I'll move to my checkbox, which has an ID of CBX. It's an ID CBX. So that's when the checkbox is checked. I want to change our label. That's our label after. Let's just do the label first. We want it to have a background color of this. Okay. So whenever we check it, we get to see that, and that's great. I think that's it for the label. Then let me copy this down here. That's for the label after. This we want it to have, so what we had mentioned here, the transform and then opacity. So let's have an opacity of 1, and then the scale back to 1. Okay, so that's it. So we have this right over here. That's okay, but we have this still presented. Let's hide it. So we want to go to the checkbox, and then maybe give it a display of none. So we are not seeing it anymore. Now that's it. So what we need is that animation, the checky animation. Create some sort of keyframes. So we have a keyframe. let's call it that shaky thing, and we want it to start from let's do transform and then the scale. So the X would start, they will both start at the right scale, and then they will end at still this. So we want it to start at scale 1 1, that's the width we assign to them, and then end at this. But in between it, we want to have some different transformations. That's maybe 30%. We want it to go, let the X expand, and then this shrink a little bit. Okay, so let's assign this to the label. So that's here. Give it an animation. So the animation name, okay, this is a lot. We want to fill all this. Our animation name is Checky right here, and then give it some time, 0.5 seconds. Still, let's go with ease. So we get to see that. So let's create more keyframes here. And okay, that's the animation right there. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.